The spring game is over as we wait for our next football fix in fall camp. But let's go position by position and see what we can learn from the spring game. How did the guys perform, and what's the current outlook going into next season? And remember, there's no such thing as off-season, so make sure to stay up to date on summer workouts and portal craziness over at Inside Texas. The team over there gives you top-notch insider info day in and day out. So stay in the loop and subscribe today over at InsideTexas.com. Overall, I enjoyed my time at the game and think the coaches put on a good show despite the limited format. So without further ado, let's get into it. Quarterback is in a better position than this time last year, and I appreciated Sark letting us see both quarterbacks running with the ones. We could see both Card and Ewers have the required arm, but they do have different styles. Ewers has elite touch on his throws, especially deep into the outside. His calm pocket demeanor is refreshing. He's chilling back there and he moves his arm slightly and that ball goes flying. When it comes to getting behind the defense or even in front of them on comebacks, he really shines. Personality-wise, there's some on-the-field edge to him, and that bit of fire and confidence is important at the position and helps build resolve in surrounding teammates, especially in tense situations. He does well in sketchy pockets, able to maneuver around the pressure and make the throw accurately with defenders in his face, and this is going to prove useful with an incomplete offensive line. At the age of a high school senior and only 5 months into the process, he's still not in full command of the offense. The field general aspect of controlling motions and identifying pressures will come. Give him single reads and he's going to hit his man. Once he consistently surveys the entire field going into his third and fourth reads, that is the moment he will maximize that insane arm ability. It's cliche in quarterback talk, but it is the little things that count at the position. And he had some issues completing quote-unquote easy underneath throws at times. At other times, he was right on the money. Quinn is confident in his arm, as he should be, but that will lead to some interceptions like we saw over the middle. You're going to have to live with some volatility in Quinn's game early in his career because his highs are so high. When I think of Ewers, I think of stepping up in the pocket with a defender in his face to deliver a beautiful touch pass deep and outside. And then Hudson Card is more cerebral, an important trait that lowers risk but can also cap big plays. He's quick getting through his reads and he's more likely to check it down. It's less exciting, but it is proper procedure. And he can still sling it like that dart to Sanders over the middle or the awesome throw deep that bounced off of Worthy's face mask. He's best over the middle in the intermediate to short range with superb velocity and accuracy. And so when I think of Card, I see a pulled handoff with a lightning fast throw to the inside receiver on an RPO glance. I don't envy Sark's decision, as both can take you in different offensive directions. It's ultimately up to philosophy. Do you want the steady approach with Card with some elite throws over the middle sprinkled in, or do you want a high-flying deep shot offense from Quinn with some insane throws that occasionally lead to questionable interceptions? Like I said, this is a good problem to have, and we're in a far better place than this time last year at quarterback. Either way, we're in good hands. The running back room is the best in the nation, period. And we're in such a spot that even if Bijan wasn't on the team, I still wouldn't worry. Roschon looks great, and his hard running gives us that needed spark. But the most intriguing aspects were Keelan's blazing speed on outside runs and previewing the young Jonathan Brooks. I've been standing on the table about Brooks since high school, and he's going to be a top back in the league next year when we likely lose Bijan to the NFL. Starting wide receivers were another bright spot. Worthy, Whittington, and Nair is one hell of a group. Worthy can catch you slipping at any moment. Whittington's veteran technique secures clutch conversions. Nair's NFL frame paired with crisp route running and acceleration will be too much for defenders. I especially enjoyed watching his matchup against Ryan Watts since they are basically mirror images of each other. The second and third string receivers are still lacking, making the need for Hall more obvious now. Drops, ineffective releases, and poor tracking of the ball in air were too common for the non-starters. I was pleased with all three tight ends in both run blocking and pass protection. Sark motions them across the line on split zone. Then he builds on that by faking the motion to block so they can then slip out underneath for easy passes to the flats. Once defenses get hypnotized with all the underneath stuff, you send them vertical, like Jatavion's awesome catch over the middle. Whether we're talking about Sanders, Helm, or Billingsley, I like where the tight end room is at currently. Offensive line lacks depth, and that's evident by not even being able to field two teams for a true spring game. The least effective group is tackle, both right and left, and if freshmen who arrive in the summer have a legitimate shot at beating out 5th and 3rd year guys, we aren't in a great spot. Pass protection remains the biggest area of concern as quarterbacks were flushed fairly often. I'd take a day one starter at tackle if they were to appear in the portal. Interior offensive line did a better job, especially when all the starters were in. And there were some miscommunications like the run getting stuffed on the goal line by Aaron Bryant, but those mistakes generally occurred when the second string guys were peppered in. They did some good things on outside zone and they were hit and miss on the counter stuff, sometimes not able to get around and reach that linebacker, and they struggled with vertical push on inside zone at times, but overall it wasn't a bad performance. The influx of freshman talent should help solve the depth issues, though it's yet to be seen how quickly Banks and Campbell can get up to speed in just a few short months. On the other side of the ball, the defensive line did well. I wanted to see a more effective pass rush against a down offensive line. The pressures we did see were more attributed to mistakes by the offensive line than great moves by the D-line. I do think Byron Murphy is your starter at nose, with Coburn and Sweat being great situational pieces. At tackle, I still want to see an angry Alfred Collins leverage his NFL body to full effect. The depth at the position is nice, but still a little underwhelming because we know what they could be when fully maximized. Edge has improved from last year, but nowhere near the strength of the defense. Ovia Gufo has made progress over the spring, which is needed at the buck position. Baron Terrell also made some good plays, and he should help contribute this season. The young Justice Finkley got a lot of reps, and it's good that the coaches are fast-tracking his development. O'Shawn Mathis will announce shortly between Texas and Nebraska. Linebackers are still a huge question mark. I like their pass coverage and their spot dropping, but they still struggle with physicality and get caught in the wash on runs and run fakes. Even when they do clog up their gaps on runs, backs just turn it outside like we saw with Brooks and Keelan. Still not sold on the linebacking unit at all, and we still need to land a starting caliber transfer to ensure proper depth. Corners are interesting due to matching up against our talented starting receivers. I'm really going to have to wait and see them in action versus another team. Watts is a tough matchup, looking to body you off the line, most effective in the limited space of the red zone. And Terrence Brooks made some young guy mistakes like not wrapping up Roschon on his run, but he's tough on the goal line and he did force an incompletion to Washington. Jameer Johnson did get beat on that post to Nair, but Nair's going to do that to a lot of guys. Similarly, Jameson had a tough go with Worthy on the RPO touchdown from Quinn, but once again, there aren't many guys in the nation that can stop Worthy, so that's not necessarily a great measuring stick. And I like the safety play generally. Anthony Cook made the interception on Quinn over the middle, and Jaron Thompson had the play of the game, stripping Sanders on the goal line. The second string of Keaton Crawford at free and Blackwell at boundary safety had the best run-stopping identity. Both made solid hits, but Blackwell being a major factor on several big tackles while stopping Blue on the goal line. This group appears far more physical and intense than last year, and I do worry about defending the deep pass because it's not a fast group, but I do feel more comfortable matching up against the run, which was their biggest weakness last season. I thought Jahdae Barron is the best secondary defender overall, and I'm excited to see him at corner and base, and then also when he's at nickel. Spring games are notoriously hard to judge since you can never truly simulate a game atmosphere against opponents that aren't your buddies. And I didn't come away with a lot of strong opinions one way or the other, which I think ultimately is a positive. I thought the team looked how we thought they would, and that's a credit to the reporters giving a fair representation of where we're at. I'm not too up or too down on the squad and think we're making steady progress. Onward to summer workouts. Thanks for hanging out. Watch some more of my videos here, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to support quality Texas content. As always, hook 'em.